A new chapter of black excellence has just begun, ladies and gentlemen. Ibrahim Mahama is leading that course in mining. First of all, if you are a Ghanaian watching this video, you need to put his surname aside because he's been successful even before his brother became president of Ghana. So leave that low-hanging level of politics to idle minds and let's focus on what's happening here, because this is what we do and destroy business people in this country. So like I said, leave that line of thought behind because you may do it to him today and end up becoming a victim tomorrow.
What if one platform could connect Africa's brightest ideas with the global African diaspora? Welcome to AfricaFounder.com, the crowdfunding platform where African changemakers and diaspora supporters unite. Start a project, donate to causes that matter, earn as an affiliate, support as a consultant. From London to Kigali, the diaspora is coming home through AfricaFounder.com. Visit AfricaFounder.com today. Let's fund Africa's future together.
Now, this is what's happening. He has successfully acquired a gold mining concession that has been in the majority ownership of foreigners in Ghana for many years while dormant. Listen to what I just said again. This concession, which he has just bought, cost him $100 million according to the reports. But before that, it was owned and controlled by majority foreign investors whose investment in the mines were nothing close to what he had to pay for it. This is the madness I have consistently spoken against in all of Africa, which no leader is listening. Many foreign companies come to Africa on the invitation of politicians to do explorations and take over the concessions as though they were still doing explorations on them. They most times don't mine the land. They don't add any significant physical value to the state of the land or to the community it falls within. But because they did the exploration, they proceed to occupy the lands and look for overseas partners or buyers. When they happen to find investors, they commence mining. But when they don't, they simply look for an off-taker to buy the concessions, and they make millions of dollars doing so. This is the African madness I stand against. And this is what this company, Engineers and Planners, owned by Ibrahim Mahama, had to deal with to own this concession. I know this because I used to be in this industry. Many of such mining companies have their leases approaching expiration in few years, and they will come back for renewals to the governments of Africa, and most African governments will continue to extend their leases. And as a result of this strategy they've taken, when you look across the continent in the mining industry, many of the rich deposits are controlled by foreign entities. This is hurting the continent, ladies and gentlemen. But, ladies and gentlemen, this man, Ibrahim Mahama, and his company, Engineers and Planners, are reported to fully complete the acquisition process of Azuma Resources Ghana Limited and Upwest Resources Ghana Limited. This information is on MyJoy Online and many other websites. But it also appears there is some form of dispute from the selling companies, which I believe will be resolved eventually. And this challenge, I'm sure, is as a result of what I've just described earlier. But all in all, this is the black excellence I speak about. When black people control their resources and their destiny. For whatever reason which I cannot fathom, most successful African business people have very limited interest in mining. And this is disturbing, ladies and gentlemen. They have interest in the gold, but not the mining in itself. Meanwhile, the mining is where the real wealth is sitting. There are companies making in excess of $1 billion in gold mining in Africa every year for the last 5 years. Keep that in perspective, ladies and gentlemen. Majority of our business owners have become wholesalers and retailers. They would rather go to China and buy some cheap goods and come sell, make their money, than to get involved in production. Many fear that management and supervision will be a problem, which is true. Others are of the opinion that it may lock up a chunk of their capital, and many won't even consider it for fear of political instability. For these reasons, we have allowed for outsiders to take that advantage of all the mineral resources we have. Everybody has resorted to just doing buying and selling at this point, ladies and gentlemen. Just look around your country and tell me I got it all wrong. But this one man, ladies and gentlemen, Ibrahim Mahama, is different. He has outgrown the fear of losing capital and has mastered the craft of mining at the most professional level, where his company employs engineers from all over the world and has gained solid reputation. Listen, his company is at the point where wherever you mention engineers and planners amongst renowned globally recognized engineers, they have respect for him. This is excellence. Why can't the country do same, if I may ask? I can never understand why any mining concession should be sold or given to a foreign company when we have many engineers across the continent. What do we do with our engineers, ladies and gentlemen? Who are we training all these engineers in schools for? How will this continent develop when the technical people who are supposed to lead in building it are left behind in the process? Lawyers have taken over politics in all of Africa. Every politician in Africa is now a lawyer or is in school to become a lawyer, and they make the decisions and dump them on us. Meanwhile, I keep telling you, lawyers build nothing. Lawyers do not build countries. Countries are built by engineers and technical people. So when you look at the current academic trajectory happening in the politics of countries in Africa, you should just know that nothing will change with the way politicians are all becoming lawyers. The people sitting at the decision-making tables are predominantly lawyers. And so what do you expect, ladies and gentlemen? The rest of the professionals in government have their master's and doctorate degrees in some humanities. What can we expect, ladies and gentlemen? When a leader lacks the basics in technical know-how, he sees everything as daunting and need foreign hands. This has to change. We are exporting too much jobs to foreigners from the north, south, east, and west of Africa. All the biggest gold mines are owned and operated by foreign companies. It started with the Western countries, and now China is replacing them. This is gold we are talking about here, ladies and gentlemen. The one commodity that can turn around the economies of all African countries is what's being discussed here, and we have given it to foreigners. We are exporting it to foreigners, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, an ounce of gold is currently priced at 3,600 USD, ladies and gentlemen. 1 kilo of gold is above 117,000 United States dollars. It is super profitable if that's what you want to hear from me. Can't you see how local, small-scale, and artisanal miners fight tooth and nail to mine even when it has to do with putting their lives on the line? Listen, if I were to have the ears of the president of Ghana, or say any African country's president for that matter, I would advise them to invite these engineers and planners people to plan with the state on how the state can contract them to mine for the state on commissions. Look, they already mine for Newmont, which is a multinational company in Africa, so they can mine for the state as well. This must be done deliberately, devoid of politics, for the interests of the state. We need money to build roads, ladies and gentlemen. We need hospitals and schools and stadiums. We need sponsorships for our sports across the continent. We cannot be waiting for some white man or bank to come to our aid. We have the resource to raise the money to start our own industrial banks. So let's keep that in focus, ladies and gentlemen. Rich and wealthy Africans can do this even if the state is avoiding it. This is where I believe our prosperity will come from when we embrace it. And I'm glad someone is doing it. I won't stop until our resources are fully under our control. It's about damn time, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell for more of our videos. I'm Cyrus from Accra, Ghana. And it's bye-bye for now.